After we inhabit Mars and we find some sort of ancient ruin in Mars. It's on the face of Mars. That big ass cool rock that looks like a face on Mars.
Welcome to Frosty Thoughts, where the thoughts are frosty and the people are not. We are your hosts. I'm Spencer. This is Bode. And today we have a very special guest.
My name's Dan. I'm a certified, uncertified space expert.
Yes, today we are talking about space. Our other host, Cameron, is not here tonight, so Daniel was nice enough to join us.
I know two things about space.
And what are those?
It's out there.
That's one.
And there's also some light in there. I will not elaborate.
Okay. Alright. So space can be broken down into many different subtopics, many categories. We could go with like fictional space, we could go with non-fiction space, we could go with the history space.
But what truly is fictional space and non-fictional space? Because we really don't know. So there is no such thing as non-fictional or fictional space.
Okay,
you get what I'm saying?
Yes. What I consider fictional space would be like Star Wars, Star Trek.
Okay.
The two main things I know about space come from those.
How do you know those aren't actually
the
documentaries?
The Orville. Set
I was about to say the wormhole from DS9, but...
what is it? The Cloverfield Paradox? It's another one.
I believe in all of those things that you've mentioned, space is still
the
real.
The Martian with Matt Damon.
I believe that's a true story, actually.
Matt
Damon really grew potatoes from his poo. It was real.
So, is every Matt Damon movie real?
Yes.
Jason Bourne's a real character?
No.
Well,
that's what they want you to think.
And then non-fictional space is like what we have today, whereas like we have the moon with very few moon landings, and then we have like the Mars rover and whatnot. And then Elon Musk shot a Tesla up there.
Sure did. National hero.
Elon. Wait, I don't think I heard this. He did what?
He shot a Tesla into space.
Yeah, he shot a Tesla into space.
Yeah, and it's even manned with a dummy.
Yeah.
What we know of the observable universe is that it is vast and large. But when people think space, they always think outward. They never think inward. Space can be as small as micro nanometers, which is not a real measurement. The smaller you get, the bigger the universe gets.
How does
that's
that
true.
work?
No, that's fair because
everything is
smaller,
in perspective.
If you think about it, the smaller you are, the bigger the universe is. So that is a good point.
As Albert Einstein once said, it's relative.
Everything is relative.
True, and it's all
especially
about
in
perspective.
Alabama.
Just like
is there aliens? And have we learned or have we witnessed an alien life form here on Earth before? And is the government covering it up, or just did it just happen?
Well, of course, you've seen aliens. It's me. In all seriousness, to answer this, yeah, there's probably aliens out there. There's so many combinations to human life, or at least to carbon life. There's other ways that life can be produced, and with as vast as the universe is, it's gotta happen at least one other time. But with the way that genome sequencing works, it's kind of a crapshoot.
How many universes do we have? Like we have the
multiverse theory. We have many of them.
Yeah.
So, kind of going off that in like different universes and whatnot. Do you believe that in a different galaxy far away, that there is another planet very similar to Earth with very similar species on it?
If multiverse theory holds true, yes.
Does it have to be in a different universe?
As long as it's something that can be thought of or perceived, then that makes a new universe. Like there's a whole universe out there where nobody has shoes. Cheese doesn't exist.
So you're talking about alternate universes then, and basically where they're very similar except for one little thing or two little things are out of it, and then there's like multiple of those out there.
Precisely.
Yeah.
But no, I had another question for you, Daniel, since you are the expert.
The certified expert.
uncertified, certified expert in space. Man, you made me forget my question.
Sorry.
Come on, man.
There's a universe that exists where you remembered the question.
I know, and we're not in that universe.
You got it.
How far off do you think we are from actually having like another livable society on another planet? And how do you think that's going to work? Is it going to be like you have to pay a certain amount of money to get there, or is it just going to be like first come first serve? How's that going to work for
I say the technology is probably at least 3, maybe 4 generations away. That's the way I see our learning of science trending at this moment. The first ones that are going to do it are the rich.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's
Old
expensive.
Johnny Hamburger McDonald flip, he ain't going to go to Mars.
But what if they?
Not yet.
But what if they have
Not
like
yet.
McDonald's on Mars?
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. Next was
They
that.
could, and one billionaire's child is going to be very disappointed when he gets there.
Aha. Aha.
Fair
He's going to
enough.
have to learn the true meaning of a dollar.
Okay, so that's another one. What's currency going to be like? Is it going to be the same as here?
That depends on who gets there first, I would assume. But if it's going to be
What if the
future,
Chinese get there first?
it's Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
We're going to have the internet up there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're not going to go anywhere without the internet.
That's fair.
No,
fair.
and I think
Fiber
that's
optics.
yeah. So there was
They'll
a
run
kids movie.
They'll run a hardline. They'll have Cox Gigablast.
What was a kids movie that?
Thomas the Train.
No.
Okay, do you remember a
You
movie?
mean the little toaster one?
Yes! I was just about to ask you that. Do you remember that? Obviously. He was homeschooled. If that explains anything to anyone.
I'll have to bleep that one out.
Well, yeah.
Got people hunting me down.
Got that.
I see that Bode over here wants to talk about time travel.
Yeah,
So, how does space go into that?
because I feel like it's like a warp in time or a warp in space is kind of time traveling, and I feel like we just haven't had the amount of energy required to be able to time travel to make that happen for us.
Scientifically, as it is known, it is impossible. But that's a phrase I love to hold on to. Is as
the
we know,
moment,
as
anyway.
we know it.
Yeah.
How I perceive time travel is it's like the bending of some sort of space-time continuum is usually how it's explained. All these movies mention some sort of machine that does that for them. I mean, you look at probably one of the most famous was Back to the Future, the DeLorean. So there's always some sort of device that people, create and use to, time travel. Will we have to create a device like that, or how do you How do you think it's gonna work?
It won't, as they work.
Black holes, very scary.
Very scary.
What do you think happens in a black hole?
You die. I think a black hole is a warp in space, and I think
It's
if
a
we
very
could
heavy
actually
point
withstand
in
the
space.
pressure, I think we would be able to either time travel or go into another universe or galaxy. I think that there's
You think it would just shoot you out?
I think that there's
another-
an existence, on the other side of some kind of planets or some kind of life, possibly even too. But I feel like that's what black holes are. Is there something on the other side of it? But humans can't withstand that pressure in order to go through that black hole.
Black holes are actually more of like an implosion of a previous star. At the center, there's something beyond the event horizon that basically takes all this gravity and just squishes it down into like an unbelievably huge mass. With that mass, that of course sucks other gravity in, and the gravity is actually so heavy that no radiation can escape from it. So light gets in there and it don't come out. But there could be something at the middle that could, in fact, like it's so heavy it warps time. So it may not necessarily be a wormhole, but it could, in effect, theoretically, if you're hanging around a black hole for too long, it could either send you backwards or forwards into space, or even left and right. There's at least
Up
11
and down.
dimensions.
Yeah.
There's 11 dimensions.
So like
There's 11. How do we know that there's
At least
11?
there's scientists have
narrowed it
theorized that there's either 11 or 26 other alternate dimensions that we cannot perceive.
Gotcha.
that we cannot perceive?
On the third
Space.
dimension, we can perceive everything on the third dimension, and then of course the two lower dimensions, 1 and 2. You know, height and what is it? Width, and then of course depth. We know that there is at least a fourth dimension. You know, time, where it's basically, or it's not really necessarily time, but it's more like the passing of energy, but it's better described as time. We cannot necessarily perceive the fourth dimension, but there may be something in the fourth dimension that can perceive down lower, because I mean, you draw a line on a piece of paper, it's not going to know it's a line on a piece of paper, but we can perceive it as a line on a piece of paper. I've done a lot of research, multiverse theory and dimensional
Are you talking
transistors.
about like planes?
Yes,
Okay, so you're talking about like 11 different planes,
or 26,
or 26 different planes.
based on the math.
Now
Based on
he's
that.
catching up.
Okay, I'm catching up now.
Yeah, now he's catching up.
So
Here's the terrifying thing. We can perceive things in the lower dimensions, but not in the higher ones. So that means that there's possibly a being above us that can perceive us.
So
on
you're
each
thinking
of those dimensions.
you're thinking that there's something bigger than us that can actually see us,
Probably.
like how we can see like an ant.
Exactly.
but like much larger, aka like a bigger galaxy.
Well, maybe
So
it's
listen,
not-
you could think how like far that would go out, like just like you know how they say like you know you have microscopic bugs that you can't see with the human eye, but they're there.
Tardigrades.
And so what if we're microscopic bugs to something else, and then it just keeps.
Oh, we
continuing
absolutely
and
are. As
continuing.
how big this universe is, we are nothing but a speck.
Do you think Wakanda has a state fair? For example, are there going to be like vehicles, like cars on Mars, or is it just
They're
that
gonna
rhymes?
Cars
All-terrain,
on Mars.
or is
what
it going
they're-
to be like, or is it going to be like some sort of Jetsons kind of thing, where you just like fly and you go to places that way?
What I assume they will do is that they're going to take all of the hipsters in Oregon and take their bikes.
You think?
That's fair.
Did you know that the concept of lift, from an engineering standpoint, is impossible to prove?
The lift, like the service, the car service?
No, as in like lift generated by airplanes.
That's what I was thinking.
Lift of what?
Lift, as in the thing generated by airplanes that make them stay in the air.
Yeah. What about it?
In a mechanical standpoint, you can't really prove that lift exists.
So what?
That's
would
also
it,
fair.
what would it be then?
They don't know.
So how could it? So then, therefore, it could be.
Well,
lit.
see, the way that they've classically explained it is that it uses Bernoulli's principle of the airfoil of the wing. That you have a high pressure underneath the wing, and then the air going over the top of the airfoil. I think that's the word for it. It enters a lower pressure zone, and the gap that goes between where like the wing goes down and kind of like a little vortex, and it pulls the wing up, right?
Mhm.
Pulls the whole thing up.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's bullshit.
So what you're saying is.
Lift doesn't exist.
So what you're saying is, I'm
But
not.
it does. Like, it happens, but we can't prove it. But we have proven it, but we can't explain it.
So is this some sort of like?
I'll link you later.
No, I understand.
It's a very
I
interesting.
get it.
It's a
I
very
get what you're
interesting
saying.
read.
So is this one of those like gravity is a myth kind of situation?
No,
Or
if I was going to say something ridiculous, I would say that the sun is flat,
There you go.
which it's not. The moon is
If
flat.
the Earth is flat, would the moon and the sun also be flat?
No.
Wait, what? How do you explain how could every other planet out there being round besides the Earth? I never got that theory. I can't get that.
Well, see, the Earth isn't flat. It's actually donut shaped. That's why I can. That's why. I
Okay,
named it.
even if it was donut shaped, how come the sun,
Wait,
the moon,
so is
Mars, everything else is round? In that theory,
Hmm.
everything else is round
I don't-
except for Earth.
It's because NASA are liars.
Or not round, I'm sorry, but a sphere.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes,
Jay
Jay
Macchiato.
I saw something, and apparently the Earth is like an odd pear shape. Actually,
That I think is what I've heard.
That was actually
Yeah.
what Christopher Columbus believed, and which is why he thought that he could get to India the way that he did.
Christine.
Someone else. So my final thoughts is there is definitely life out there somewhere. We don't know where yet, or we fairly well could know where. It just the government's hiding it from us. One or two.
Fun.
Area 51. We definitely have to raid that bitch one day and go in there and figure out what the hell is going on inside there. But anyway,
We did pay for it. It's our tax dollars.
True. I feel like I own part of it. But anyway, so I feel like there is life out there. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that's unexplained, and that's really truly the new frontier. Is that the same?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
The final frontier.
The final frontier, which I feel like there's many things beyond what we're seeing already, and who knows how far it goes.
My final thought is we need to fund NASA better. They receive less than 1 cent off of every tax dollar, and should we raise it to that 1 cent, they can forward science a lot quicker. Because everything that NASA makes, eventually the general populace benefits from.
I feel like that's a good point. Yeah, I agree with that.
That's fair. I feel like this is a subject that we can probably talk about more.
For sure.
This was kind of just I feel like an introduction
to space.
An introduction to space, just kind of rolling off of what we...
101.
Introduction
Professor
to space.
Dan.
Yeah, Professor Dan.
Introduction to space and 3 assholes that don't know enough about it.
This is our certified or our uncertified
Certified.
certified Professor D on space. But no, this was kind of just this was just kind
What they
of
called me in high school. Again, I was homeschooled. It was very rough.
give us topics to talk about.
Yep.
I guess.
Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell to know when we post things.
Yup.
As always, stay frosty. I don't know if that's a tagline we've used yet.
That is for sure a tagline that we use.
Stay
frosty.